Ladies and gentlemen, Call of Duty is back, and so am I. Now, only one of those things is actually true, and I'm going to let you decide which one it is. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pillio, and I made videos for 13 years here on YouTube, primarily Call of Duty, mostly gaming commentaries, but for some reason, this game has made me want to make another one. So here we are. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Now let's start with the pros, because this game is already pretty awful, but there are a few things that are saving it for me personally. Now this is just my opinion, but I think that these things are actually saving it for me. Now, to start off, this game is absolutely beautiful. This has to be the most beautiful Infinity Ward game I have ever played. For some odd reason, especially if you're an old head in Call of Duty and you've been playing for a long time, Infinity Ward does this thing where they make these very nice, vibrant games. And then they completely fucking ruin it by putting a grayscale filter right over their games. I don't know if it's just a grayscale filter or if it's some other type of filter, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've played MW2, MW3, or the newer Modern Warfare 2, the newer Modern Warfare 3, Infinity Ward just has this really, even Infinite Warfare, Infinity Ward has this really bad, just horrible tactic and just horrible way of making their games that should look beautiful look horrible. And they do it with a grayscale filter. They just slap it over their games, and then the visibility is horrible. Everything looks off. It doesn't look the way that it should. But this game, it's vibrant. It's beautiful. It's nice to look at. I wish private match was a thing, because I would put my graphic settings to max settings just to see how beautiful this game really is. And I can't wait to see it even more in the next open beta. The gunplay is actually pretty nice. Weapon balancing is a completely different conversation, but overall, the gunplay is satisfying. Of course, you still have your laser beams in this game, like the M4 and the ISO, which kind of pisses me off because it just means that we are still going to have meta weapons. I really wish everything was just balanced all the way across the board. And when I say balanced, I mean within the specific weapon classes. All of the assault rifles are balanced with each other. All of the SMGs are balanced with each other. The snipers, the shotguns, the LMGs, everything like that. Everything is balanced with each other. There's nothing that is more overpowered than the next thing. Now, where the differences of course need to come in is, like, if you're running around with an SMG but somebody is just posted up with an AR, of course they're going to beam you, always. And of course, if you have an SMG, someone's running around with a shotgun and you just happen to have the best movement out of the two and you can absolutely just pop shot them in the head, easy, you know what I mean? Of course there needs to be variation between the classes, but within the weapon class, I just wish everything was equal across the board so we could use more guns, have more variety. That would just be absolutely amazing for me. The movement supports all play styles, which I did not expect to be a thing. Now, there's always an exception that makes this type of stuff untrue, and we will get to that exception, of course, but you can play slow, you can run and gun. If you want to be cracked or be Timmy No Thumbs who sits in a corner, then this game is for you. You could quite literally do it all. Like, literally. I've run and gunned in this game. I've definitely gotten my shit wrecked. I've also just stood in the back a little bit, get a couple of kills, and then move my position, do the same thing. But running and gunning is still viable in this game. But of course, there is something that ruins it, and we will get to that in the cons. Another good thing, and people can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but supposedly there's zero bloom, I think, on the guns for your hip fire. So when you are actually hip firing someone and you have your crosshair on somebody but you're not ADSing, your bullet is going to go exactly where your crosshair is. So there's zero hip fire bloom in this game, which is one of the reasons why hip firing is king in this game, especially if you're running and gunning and you do a little bit of a dolphin dive and then somebody's around the corner. It would be best to not actually aim in. It would be the best thing to just hip fire, and especially if your sensitivity is dialed in and you're not just windmilling your shots, you're most likely going to kill that person and get the jump on them. So that is one thing that I need to work on, because I'm still losing a ton of gunfights because it's just ingrained in me to immediately ADS so I could get the best centering on them, when in reality, if your centering is already good without ADSing, which mine is kind of good, it could use some work, all you really got to do is hip fire and you're going to get the shot off no problem. So remember, hip firing is king. Overall, the core game is actually fun, and I didn't expect that. It makes me want to play Call of Duty the way that I used to, and Now, I won't lie, Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 did make me want to play Call of Duty the way that I used to. In Black Ops 6, I literally got to Master Prestige within a month and a half. That's how cracked I was at that game because the Omni movement was new. It felt better. It felt fun. I definitely felt like a kid again. BO7 pissed me off a little bit with the futuristic bullshit that they were going back to. Some of the equipment and some of the kill streaks were a little bit annoying. But overall, BO7 ended up being better than BO6, and I actually still enjoy BO7. I love the ranked play in that game, even though it's riddled with cheaters. But again, I definitely feel like this game makes me want to play again. But yet, somehow, some fucking way, Infinity Ward found a way to completely fuck it up. Now, here's the part that actually matters, because this game is a fucking dumpster fire in every other category, and it's not even funny. Now, let's start with the maps. They are fucking atrocious. We have 5 maps total for the beta. I hope we're getting at least like 12 maps when the game comes out. As a matter of fact, they should give us an extra 5 or 6 maps when this game fully comes out, because that should be an apology for what we have had to endure for this beta. Only 2 of the maps are actually fucking good. Silkworm and Lotus are perfect maps for me. Silkworm is more so a map that I can tolerate though, because there are so many cars lined up everywhere in the streets of Silkworm. If you are running off of spawn on the break off when the game starts, do not just run and gun. Sit there for a minute and just aim down sights and try to beam somebody from across the map, because there is going to be a grenade that is going to be thrown and you are going to fucking die. If we could get some type of battlefield system for this, which I know is crazy to say, but like I would just love it if we could choose which maps we want to play. If we could just queue up in an actual game where we're only playing a few maps and we don't have to be on constant rotation, we need that for this game, because so far these maps are dog shit. I would just play Lotus and Silkworm 24/7, and that would be amazing for me. Every other map is a mix fest type of blender situation. The worst map of them all, Transit fucking 90210 or whatever the fuck it is called, is absolutely terrible. They basically remade Shipment. They put buses everywhere, put us smack dab in India, and I'm not being racist. Like, you could actually look at the game. Look at the maps. It says the location is in India. So they put buses everywhere, smack dab in India, and they're just hoping that you're on tons of Adderall so that you can actually stomach this shit, because it is the worst fucking map I have ever played. You may think that you're reading somebody when it comes to the spawn system. You're not. You're not. You're not. You could immediately spawn somewhere and you think, okay, based off of Shipment and the way that I used to play Shipment, of course you're going to get those random spawns where somebody is behind you or right next to you, but more often than not, there's only 4 spawn points. If your team is spawning in 2 of them, then you know exactly where the next 2 are going to be. Fucking lies. Literally fucking lies. Absolutely not. You will not predict a damn thing on this map. It is the worst fucking map. It needs to stay in small map mosh pit, and it does not need to go in the regular rotation. If they put this shit in the regular rotation, I may actually turn my monitor into a bracelet. I'm not even lying. That's how bad it is. And of course, the one thing that they never seem to be able to get right every single year for as long as I've been alive, the spawns are broken. And it's so broken that it really is kind of comical, because if I just died and then I immediately respawn in, what you shouldn't do, which I keep doing because I'm used to the run and gun play styles of the last few Call of Duties that just have cracked ass movement, what you really shouldn't do is immediately start sprinting. Because I don't know if this is across the board or if anybody has felt this, but for me personally, if I immediately start sprinting after I just respawned from dying, I feel like I just flipped the spawns somehow. I don't know how that works, but I had enemies spawning behind me because I dared to actually use movement and immediately start pushing. And sometimes it's in these ways where I died and then I immediately start sprinting. Somebody else died like maybe 2-3 seconds after I died and I got my respawn off. I immediately just start pushing. For some odd reason, I was able to see that person's name in the kill feed, and they somehow immediately just met up with me in mid-map as if they got a closer spawn than I did. And I've literally timed it out in my head from each spawn on each map. I know how many seconds it's taking. There's no fucking way that they were able to meet up with me that quick. It just doesn't seem possible to me. And then there are other times, again, where I'm getting shot from behind because I immediately start pushing, and somehow that flips the spawns for a couple of players. I don't know how that's working. So if you need to do anything, just stay still for a minute when you spawn in, or walk. Just walk. Just slightly push that thumbstick forward. Don't immediately start trying to be cracked out of your mind. It will punish you. And here we go with the worst thing that MW 2019 ever actually gave us. It is the gunsmith. The gunsmith needs to fucking go. We need to stop this bullshit and go back to the pick 10 system from the glory days of Call of Duty. And the funny thing about Infinity Ward is they genuinely believe that the pick 10 system is complicated. Yet for some odd reason, they think what isn't complicated is the fact that we have 95 fucking attachments for each gun. Modern Warfare 2 2022 had this stupid system where you still have 95 attachments for each fucking gun, but they made it, for some reason, they thought it was a good idea that if you wanted to unlock some attachments for some guns, you had to use other guns. If you wanted a red dot sight that you knew was a good red dot sight on your AR, you couldn't unlock that red dot sight if you didn't go unlock it on a fucking sniper or an LMG. So they just made it even 10 times more complicated in MW2. But that's neither here nor there. Either way, they say the pick 10 system is complicated, and yet we have 95 fucking attachments on each gun, right? And then the funny thing about that is that they also have this AI client. First of all, fuck AI, but they have this AI client called Gunny. All it does is make classes for you. It basically just looks at your playstyle, I guess, and then it just makes classes for you based off of what they think would be a good attachment set for that gun. So they basically just admitted that their system is complicated because they had to make an entire AI in order for it to be viable. That is fucking comical. And while we're on the attachments, every single attachment in this game besides like one or two makes your gun fucking worse. Everything slows down your ADS speed. Everything slows down your movement walking speed. Everything slows down your jump to fire. Everything slows down your sprint to fire. How does that make any sense? Why are you penalizing people for daring to put attachments on their guns so they can make them better? Attachments are supposed to make guns better, other than like your rapid fire attachments or maybe like a stock here and there. You know, like originally the stock made you move faster when you were aiming down sights. Now they have like 6 or 7 different stocks. One of them can make you move faster while you're aiming down sights, but at the same time it fucks up your ADS speed. And that's one of the reasons why hip firing is king in this game, because your ADS speed is so fucking slow that if you just immediately get into contact with somebody when you're running and gunning, you better just fucking hip fire, because there's no way you're gonna kill them by ADSing. It's a fucking joke. It's literally a joke. Pick 10 is not complicated. It's called Pick 10 for a reason. What would you rather have? Pick 10 with a fucking gunsmith where you have 95 fucking attachments that ruin your gun in every other fucking way. Infinity Ward, please, for the love of God, go fuck yourself. And yes, you knew it was coming. Matchmaking. Listen, SBMM, EOMM, open matchmaking, it does not fucking matter, because Activision, not Infinity Ward, Activision. Do not blame this on the developers. This is Activision 110% when it comes to their brain rot, okay? They are completely brain dead when it comes to matchmaking. They lied about the open matchmaking in BO7. They were caught lying about the matchmaking in MW4. And please, just to keep it simple, this is all I want from you, okay, Activision? Balance the fucking matchmaking. Balance the matchmaking, balance the teams. SBMM is here to stay. Whatever, that's fine. Of course, there's going to be SBMM in every Call of Duty game, but the way that it is so aggressive now is just absolutely atrocious. Just balance the fucking lobbies. Make the team balancing fair. Make the ping king. Ping is supposed to be king. Okay? I should not have to deal with SBMM and I'm on a 30 fucking ping. Put me on my regular 11 to 12 ping. Everybody else is on a good ping. Everything is going good. And then just balance the teams properly and we're good to go. Keep it simple and let the player decide if they want to leave the lobby or not. Okay? Fuck your data and all of your analysis. You guys do not play the game the way that the community does. I don't care if you say that you were playtesting. I don't care if you say that you've done all this data research and everything like that. And if you were playtesting, you guys are some of the worst Call of Duty players I've ever seen, because the YouTuber and streamer Swag got into a game with an IW developer and the dude went like 1-43. 1-43. What kind of fucking playtesting are you doing if you can't even play your game with your player base? So clearly SBMM was to protect your dumb ass because you don't even know how to play the damn game. You guys, whenever you say you're playtesting, that's a closed playtesting environment. You're going up against other devs who do not play the game the way that the community does. So you don't know what you're doing. And your data and your analysis is flawed as it is anyways, because you're not even thinking of the external factors that could be the reason as to why somebody is leaving a game. Are they leaving because of the UAV spam? Are they leaving because of the constant concussion spam? Are they leaving because of some of the stupid ass fucking equipment that you put in for the noobs, such as that one thing in BO7 where someone throws like it's kind of like a smoke grenade, but it's not a smoke grenade, but it basically makes you hallucinate and you think there are enemies everywhere when there's not. They're just hallucinations. Like, that's why people are leaving games. It's not just because people don't want to stay in the same lobby. I'm not saying that if you're starting to see trends in your data and your analysis that you shouldn't actually address those trends, but you also have to think about the external factors that your data and your analysis are not going to account for. People are leaving games for so many reasons. How do you know that that person didn't leave because their session was over and they just wanted to get off? How do you know that that person didn't leave because they had to walk away and do something for 2 hours and then immediately come back and play another session? You don't know any of these external factors, and it's okay because you're not going to know them, but you at least have to consider them. You have to consider all of those external factors, and the problem with Activision is they don't. They just see the data, they think the data says one thing, when in reality, it could mean an entirely different thing. Of course, you should address it. You should make changes to your game in order to address those data points, but you shouldn't just go from one extreme to the other. And that's the problem with Activision. They're going from one extreme to the other, and it's just nothing but brain rot bullshit at the end of the day. And you know, the funny thing is, I've gotten used to the aggressive skill-based matchmaking, and it's gotten to a point where it doesn't even bother me anymore, because I know for a fact that if I just had a good game, which is what I like to call a gimme game. A gimme game is when you've been getting pub stomped for at least like 4 games in a row, so like, okay, we're gonna let him get a nice game in so that the dopamine hits and then he's good to go. But the thing is, I don't actually have bad games in Call of Duty anymore, because when I know that the SBMM is about to kick in and it's gonna be an ultra sweaty MLG pub stomping game, I'm immediately just going to go for kills. Fuck the objective. I'm just trying to have fun. I will just go for kills. I will start trying to be a movement demon. I will start trying to go for highlight reels. I don't care. So honestly, the SBMM is fine. Immediately, I'm just going to say fuck my team and fuck the objective if I'm in an ultra sweaty game, and I'm just going to go for kills. I've been having fun doing that for the last few years. So if you want to keep SBMM, go ahead. I'm just going to fuck the rest of my teammates and not even try to win, because it doesn't even matter. I don't care about my win-loss ratio. All I care about is the KD and having some fucking fun, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But still, you need to stop going from one extreme to the other, because this is honestly getting to a point where people literally do not want to log on to the game anymore. Everything feels like a ranked game. Everything feels like a ranked game. There needs to be at least some type of balance. If it feels like a ranked game, but you know that your team is ultra balanced and the games go to damn near the last like few seconds of the game, that's a different story. That's fun. But no, this shit feels like a ranked game, but the team balancing is so off that you feel like you're a freaking gold player going up against iridescence sometimes. It's really annoying, and this shit needs to stop. And now to close this out, should you buy this game? I mean, first of all, this was honestly just the closed beta, so of course the closed beta is going to be more sweaty than the open beta, and there's probably going to be a few differences between the closed beta and the open beta, but I didn't even actually pre-order this game in order to get a beta code. I got like 3 beta codes. I got one from my Xfinity rewards, I got another one from Discord Nitro, and I went to COD Champs this year back in July, and they were giving out beta codes on Championship Sunday. So I really didn't even have to pre-order the game. So I lucked out. If you did pre-order, I hope you've at least canceled your pre-order at this point, because this game is a fucking mix fest and it is just terrible. However, if you really want to get the real opinion, as of right now, don't buy the game. But I would wait for the open beta, because even though there's only a few things that are truly saving this game for me personally, I still don't think that those things outweigh the cons of this game. But maybe the open beta will address some of these things and it'll get a little bit better. Here's the thing. If you played the closed beta and you see a drastic change between the closed beta and the open beta, I would say keep your pre-order live, because there are some things that are saving this game, but there are definitely some things that need to fucking change, and we cannot wait for full release for those things to change. We need to see those changes immediately in the open beta. If we don't see those things change in the open beta, then I definitely just think the year is just completely fucking chalked for most of us. But if there is a drastic change in the open beta, I'd say keep your pre-order alive. If you have not been able to play the closed beta and you are strictly going into the open beta, I would say this entire week, just watch as many videos as you can. I'm sure you've been watching streams. I'm sure you've been listening to opinions, but watch those streams some more. Listen to those opinions, watch as many videos as you can, and truly analyze the gameplay and see what all of these commentators are talking about, and then compare it to what you're going to play when the open beta comes out. See if you're dealing with those same problems. See if you're dealing with all of those issues that we've been addressing. And honestly, the only thing that will change for sure is going to be the netcode, because the netcode is really fucking horrible right now. I'll be playing kill confirmed, running over tags, and for some reason my player doesn't pick them up, so the netcode is a little bit bad, but that is definitely going to change whether it be in the open beta or the full release. Netcodes for Call of Duty when it comes to the beta are usually dog shit anyway, so I really try not to go too hard on the netcode. Even though they're a AAA company and they're worth billions of dollars, they really shouldn't have this problem, but I'll give it to them. You know, it is a beta, even though it's not really a beta, it's more so of a demo. This is pretty much the full game, just with everything else scaled back. You're not playing all the maps, you're not playing with all the guns, you're not playing with all the perks, none of that stuff. The perk system is honestly kind of stupid too. I don't really like the way that Ninja and Ghost, I believe, are in the same perk slot. I understand they're OP, but like, I mean, one of the best things about Call of Duty was always having a stealth class on standby or something that you could just use to just be, you know, a complete annoyance to people around the map, because they can't see you on the mini map, they can't hear your footsteps, they can't hear anything. So all in all, the game is beautiful. It looks good, it's vibrant, it actually gets me excited about Call of Duty again. But there are just too many negatives right now. There are too many things that the positives cannot outweigh, because we have been dealing with the same bullshit for the last like 6.5 years. We've been telling them what we want. We've been telling them what to change. We tried to make compromises saying, hey, if SBMM can't go anywhere, can you at least tune it down a little bit? Can we get some more team balancing? And then they gave us open matchmaking, but they kind of lied about it when it came to BO7, and then it was just a complete fucking mix fest. And then they changed the matchmaking silently in BO7. The queue times went up. Everything was just going horribly. If Activision could just tell us exactly what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, and just let the community decide if they want to stick around or not, that would be great, because lying and then doing things secretly is not going to help anybody. And more importantly, not listening to your fucking community when they're the reason why your game is where it is right now is also not going to fucking help anything. If you can't even compromise with us, if we're not going to do the end all be all and you're going to put in what we want, then can you at least compromise? And if you're not willing to compromise, then I don't know what the fuck you expect when you keep releasing games, because the numbers are going down. I don't care what the sales are. I don't care if they're still selling a good amount. The numbers are down. The numbers are down. From the golden era of Call of Duty, the way that they were selling games back in the day, they only should have gone up. And once they released MW 2019, that was the beginning of the end. And they just will not compromise with all of us. So if you want to play this game, I recommend the open beta, definitely. If the open beta has some drastic changes that actually address a lot of the shit that we've been talking about, and if we can see a good trend of changes, then I would pre-order this game. For me personally, I don't want to pre-order this game, but the problem is that it actually is a little bit of fun. It really is. It's gotten me excited about Call of Duty again. I don't know what I'm going to do, but all I know is that as of right now, I do not want to buy it. Open beta time, maybe my luck will change. Anywho, it's been a good time making this video. It's been a good time talking to y'all. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to watch this video, but man, it felt good to get behind the microphone again. You guys are great. Please continue to have fun with Call of Duty. I miss all of you. I miss making YouTube videos. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one if there is a next one on the table.